Hey guys, B8KD here. Today I'm going to be going over the Blackbird Interdictor. This is an extremely cool ship. I think this is a better ship than the Caracal Navy issue, and we'll go over a few differences there in a minute. Let's open up our fittings here. For this ship, we have 1 drone slot, 4 weapon slots, 3 mids, 5 lows, which is added 1 from the Navy issue, and 3 rig slots each. This is a tech level 8 heavy interdictor ship. For our roll bonus, we have a +1 max warp disrupt field, so it's a little bit different from the destroyers who can poop out bubbles. This thing has a disrupt field that will follow you around, and we'll kind of go over how that works in a bit. Per advanced propulsion jamming bonus, you get 5% guidance disruption, optimal range and strength, and you get a larger warp disrupt field. This is pretty necessary to at least have at 4 or 5. My ship right now is not at 4 or 5, but if you plan on flying this thing quite a bit, I would 100% recommend training this up. That is one of the main bonuses of the ship. Per advanced cruiser command bonus, you do get a 10% sensor strength and a 7.5% damage bonus to missiles. This is necessary as well. I would probably recommend instead of 4 having that at 5. You want all the benefits you can out of this. Going down to some of the defense, it does have a slightly higher defense, a slightly higher flight velocity, warp speed, and it does have a much larger power grid and capacitor on the ship, so you can fit a lot more than you could on the caracal with a lot less skills trained. You can fit quite a bit of rigs on here, and I'll show you how I have mine built. The flight velocity is higher on this, but the caracal gets a 5% bonus to flight velocity per level, so you might be able to get the caracal going slightly faster, but overall with the warp speed, power grid, capacitor, everything's better on this. Essentially what you're sacrificing is 1 weapon slot for a low slot. Now this has a better damage bonus per level, so it kind of negates itself and just gives you a low slot, which is awesome. But I have this built kind of in a budget nullsec build because I will be flying this solo in nullsec, and I don't want to lose C-type or hurricane missile launchers, which are quite a bit. But you can see we are at 307 DPS with the skills trained up that I recommended, and better missiles. You can guarantee yourself you get 400 to almost 500 DPS out of this thing, which is pretty insane. But you'll see 4 Republic Fleet rapid missile launchers at 18 kilometers. I stuck a stasis web of fire on there. I'm going to be kind of orbiting a little bit tighter. I did slot a missile guidance disruptor on here, so if I fight any missile boats, this will definitely help negate some of the damage. I do have a micro warp drive and this warp disrupt field, which is going to just blow my signature radius through the roof. This increases it by 50% plus my warp drive, so I'm not sure how viable using this guidance disruptor will be solo. So what I will probably end up doing is slotting a warp scram in that place. Just to disable warp drives, and smaller frigates with warp drives won't be able to get away from me. But you'll see the Mark 7 warp disrupt field generator is the only thing this can equip. It does have a very large power consumption at a 30-second activation time. Basically, instead of like pooping a bubble behind you and being able to move, this poops a bubble out of you and you move around with it. So whatever's within your 17-kilometer range will be warp disrupted, and nobody will be able to warp out. This does not disable warp drives, so for some frigates, if you don't web them soon enough or they're fast enough, they can get away. So that's why I would recommend you could go tank with the missile guidance, because it does get all the bonuses, or a warp scram in that place. If you are in a fleet with somebody else with a scram, 100% put your missile guidance on there. That's one of the key benefits to this ship. You get the strength and the optimal range and everything like that. So however you want to play that, but I think the web's necessary for what I'm doing, so nobody gets away. For the low slots, I stuck a Federation Navy micro warp drive. Does increase my signature radius by quite a bit and my capacitor by negative 25%. I'm not really using this ship for long drawn out fights, but I have this built with a large outlaw shield booster, which pretty much paired with a capacitor battery. You can pop the capacitor battery and the shield booster. It takes about 4 times, so it completely full heals your shield if it gets low. But in the meantime, if you see, my capacitor is only 26 seconds without that, so you can maybe tick it once or twice off that capacitor battery, but I'm hoping I can kill people before that happens, or my shield needs to be healed twice. I did stick a ballistic control system on because I'm trying to kill people fairly quick. Like I said, I don't want long drawn out fights currently. But a recommendation for this slot is you can swap this out for a medium shield extender, which actually pairs with this ship very nice. The power grid definitely allows it. My skills are hardly trained, and yeah, we have just tons of power grid left. But this will increase your shield passively and on activation. So you can pop your capacitor battery, heal your shield full, and then once it's full, before your capacitor battery drops, you pop this, and it gives you that 30 seconds you need to help that capacitor battery get back up. So this thing can be pretty darn tanky. I put a pussy adaptive invulnerability shield on here just for the extra resistances. I really don't want my shield to be chewed through and have to use my booster too often. So in this place, I'm going to slot my ballistic control. You can, for what I'm doing today in NullSec, you can put a Aura Warp Core stab on there. And potentially, instead of the shield, you could put a cloaking device. So what you do is you can always get away from somebody trying to jump you, pop your Aura Warp Core, warp away to a planet, and just cloak. But I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to hopefully kill everybody I see. So let's pop this baby back on. For now, I will take off my scram and just put this guidance computer back on. The first thing we are going to do is just try it out in some PvE content. I'm going to just go ahead and go into our encounters, and whatever is close, one jump away for 1.5 mil, I will take it. And we will warp right over there. We're going to go ahead and try that out. We'll see how she performs, and then we'll take her to NullSec, see if we can slap some cheeks. For your bubble, you do need quite a bit of fuel. It does use twice as much as the destroyer interdictors, and it uses it twice as fast. So stocking this up with as much fuel as you can is recommended as well, if you're going to be running that warp disrupt field all the time. I'm going to see how long this is going to last with about 5,000 fuel stocked. Alright, I'll see you at the anomaly. Now, before we go to the anomaly, I forgot to show off my skills. My skills are pretty low for cruisers, but this is my minimum recommended skills for essentially flying anything. I could train this up more, but I'm not going to be using the ship this much. But our cruiser command, I did train this to 3 just for that extra damage bonus. This is the one I'd recommend to have to 5, but I have 4 and 3, and then of course anything after that is very good. Navigation wise, my micro warp drive is trained to 5, 5, and 3 there. Maintenance technology, I have shield operation as 5 and 4. Shield hardening can be trained up, it's at 4 and 3. My cruiser defense, this is the bare minimum. I would recommend 4 and 2. Anything past that will just make this thing even more tanky. You can see it goes up 5, 10, 15% shield armor, everything. So anything past this is good. Electronics, I have cruiser engineering, 4 and 2. This does not have any power grid issues currently, but that's just what I have it at. Electronic warfare, advanced electronic warfare, and expert there. Propulsion jamming for the, I'm pretty sure that does. I didn't even train this one up, so I don't have any bonuses to my disrupt field or anything. So this definitely advanced propulsion jamming. This needs to be trained up ASAP for this ship to be viable. Targeting, I have 5 and 4. The faster locks, the better, but that's all I really need there. For missiles, you'll see I don't have very high trained medium missiles. I have 4 and 5 for operation, and for upgrade I have 4 and 4 there. So this ship definitely does have a ton of potential. You'll see how good it is with my just bare minimum skills. And maybe you'll want to fly one as well. You'll see one thing I forgot to mention are my rigs. This does have a sensor strength per command bonus, so this thing does lock a lot quicker than most frigates. Under my rigs, what I just did some freebies because this is my null sec, but I did velocity, inertia modifier to hopefully keep my orbit. And I did stick a scan resolution adjustment just to complement that bonus. I'm trying to lock people quick. Arguably, you can put a capacitor multiplier in there, more velocity. Really, it's kind of like a freebie slot, but this is what I have. In most cases, I put the engineering multiplier, the capacitor multiplier in that slot, just to negate any effects from the micro warp drive there. I went damage, 12.5% damage, 7.5 activation time, and I did fill in the gap for a EM screen reinforcer 2 for the extra shield. My shields come out pretty well when undocked and stuff, but I'll show you in the anomaly in a minute. But this is a freebie slot. You could do more damage here if you'd like. Missile range. I went with kind of 2 damage and a tanky there. So, alright, let's warp into the anomaly now.
Drive active.
Okay, we're warping in here. Just to check again, I have Republic fleet at 18 kilometers and a webifier at 13. So I'm going to go ahead and just set my orbit at 16 and just try to kite some of these people, see if I can keep my orbit there. Maybe even 15 might be good. Pop my invulnerability shield. And let's see how fast we can lock a tower. So it actually locks pretty quick. So pop in all this stuff. Let's just look before we die. Actually, let's orbit this guy here. So we are at 380 damage per second. Our defenses is 56, 51, 59, 66. So that's fairly tanky. So let's just try to get in a little bit closer on this guy. Web him up. Not doing too bad damage. About 1,000, 1,100 of volley. Now our capacitor is getting fairly low, so before my next tick of my micro warp drive, I'm going to pop this, and you see 2 ticks of the shield booster will basically get my shield completely full. And I can just go ahead and turn that right off. Now I probably could just turn my micro warp drive off since I'm getting range there. Okay, pop our ballistic control. I'm just doing fairly good DPS, 1,100 of volley. So potentially an afterburner might do good for PvE encounters, just to keep that added bit of tank without the giant signature radius penalty that you have with the micro warp drive. Let's go ahead and wait for my capacitor battery to come back up. Okay, I'm going to pop this micro warp drive and my booster again. We can cycle this throughout most encounters. You shouldn't have too much of a capacitor problem if you do it correctly. I'm going to turn my shield booster off, and I'm going to check the top velocity here. We are orbiting pretty well. 1,500 with a micro warp drive. We are not getting webbed or anything, so that's good. And our top flight velocity looks like it's 1628. So we're going fairly quick. You could do the 20% flight velocity adjustment there and you will just be really flying, probably up in the 1800s, which that can keep up with quite a bit of frigates with afterburners as well. Yeah, you probably don't want your warp disrupt field on you as well. I'd probably go with something like a support item, maybe a tracking computer, depending on your anomaly, or another webifier. You could even go with the target painter, but it doesn't change the damage or the application too much on medium rapids. Yeah, we're just chunking away here. I can pop my capacitor, get that back up before the next wave. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward this. I might not show you all the waves. I want to get to null sec and try this out. And See how this bubble works out. Alright, so I'm not too sure how this is going to work. The bubble does follow you around. It's basically just around your ship. You can't leave multiple bubbles out. So I'm hoping somebody is within range once they warp in or to this. I'm gonna leave my warp drive on, see how long I can last. I did a few fitting changes. I have my disruption field, both web of fires equipped. I did a medium shield extender instead of the invulnerability shield. And I'm going to see if I can web and kite somebody at like 5 kilometers so they can't escape. Just keep them inside of my bubble the whole time. Nobody's really entering. 4551. Couple people warped in here. Let's see if they can get out or what's going to happen. And that guy was outside of the bubble, so he warped right off. 2 Atrons outside the bubble warped right off. Uses quite a bit of fuel a cycle. Looks like it's about 75 to 100 fuel consumed each cycle, so definitely having a lot there is necessary. Not too sure if you can bubble camp with this ship. I'm not sure how viable it is compared to the destroyer interdictor. This might be good in like fleet PvP or something, but we got a Atron here. One banged him. Probably had absolutely nothing on him. Just transporting some precious metals there. Not too big of a PK. Ooh, looks like I got a cyclone here. Hey, we got a cyclone. Oops. Meant to get that Atron, but that's okay. Ooh. Got a mission on him. 80 mil. Holy shit. And a pussy adaptive. What was that guy thinking? $400 mil, wow. He's just out in nullsec farming stuff. I don't know why he had sweet poison on him. Whatever. Same guys are carrying the same things. I wonder if that's a bot. Is that the same guy I keep killing? SIF, it's the same clan, but not the same guy. It's kind of odd. They all have about the same thing on there. So I ran right into a Venture 3. He is immediately trying to lock me, but I think he's toast. Yep, couldn't lock, and he could not warp because of my bubble. That's pretty cool. I don't have any warp disruptors or anything, and I was able to lock him down. Not the best kill in the world, but that was kind of cool. And it says scramble strength -5. Cool. Usually when I kill people in the bubble it says 0, so that's kind of odd. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video. The Blackbird Interdictor is a pretty cool ship. I do like flying it. I do like the 5 low slots. You can customize it to your playstyle pretty well with the extremely large power grid it has. The Outlaw large shield booster is definitely popping off with the capacitor battery. You need to have the capacitor battery to run the Outlaw shield. If you're doing any PvE stuff, swapping this out for a afterburner would be good. Just gives you that little bit added tank on there. And you can also go with some range rigs on your medium rapids. I've seen people put torpedoes on here with a target painter too, does some pretty good damage as well. I stuck with the rapids for this video, even though they got nerfed. I am still sitting at 307 DPS, which is pretty cool. We didn't kill too many people. We killed a lot of pods and just really low-level ships transporting goods. We did get a cyclone, which we did profit about 85 mil total, which was pretty good. So we'll be selling all this stuff in a bit. But yeah, hope you guys can try this ship out. It's arguably better than the Caracal Navy issue, but that's your call. What do you guys think in the description? Is the Caracal Navy issue better than the Blackbird Interdictor? Alright guys. Now, one thing I wanted to throw in here, you definitely need advanced propulsion jamming for the warp disruption field range, preferably maxed 5 out of 5. I was having a ton of trouble getting people inside of my bubble when they warped in or out. I think my range was just slightly too small, but you have to remember with each level you get 5% there and all that extra bonus for having each point in the advanced. So if you're planning on doing what I'm doing, I would 100% recommend training that up first, even before your cruiser electronics, your defense, anything. That is a must. And that's the one mistake I made, but hey, I'll have that trained up in a few days. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.